Howdy folks, welcome back to World of Tanks with the mighty jingles. There were a couple of slightly shorter than average World of Tanks videos this week. Those two epic win videos that I did, although a lot of you seem to enjoy them, but they were kind of on the short side, and I did promise you a nice long episode of the good, the bad and the ugly to make up for it, and here it is. The star of our first replay is Circumflexes, and most of you probably know him from his World of Tanks Twitch TV live streams and his YouTube channel. And he is a ridiculously good player. But it's probably fair to say that from time to time, Circumflexes occasionally doesn't treat the game quite as seriously as the rest of us do. This is one of those occasions. He's in the Waffenträger E100, the mighty Waffle Dragon, and he is firing nothing but high explosive ammunition. Just for the lols. Because that's just how he rolls when he's in his Waffle Dragon. This 150mm gun, when it's firing high explosive ammunition, will do 950 average damage, but it only has 85mm of penetration. Interestingly, if you compare that to the KV-2 with its 152mm derp gun down at tier 6, that has 86mm of penetration and 910 average damage. Of course, in order to achieve that 910 average damage, you have to actually penetrate the armour of whatever it is you're shooting at. Now that's a Batchat, and it's not well known for its armour, but the first shot didn't penetrate the armour. The second shot, however, did. One Batchat taken care of, which is nice. But he's only got one shot left, and he is kind of in the middle of nowhere here, so while he's covered by all of those tanks up in front of him, engaging those guys in the town, he goes for a reload and moves up to get himself into a better position where he's not quite as exposed, while he spends the best part of a minute reloading the 150mm magazine on this tank destroyer. So, you don't want to sit here watching him reload his magazine for 50 seconds, so we skip ahead to when the magazine's reloaded, and then he starts doing it all over again. And, yeah, he's hit another tank, he's done some more damage, but there's nothing special so far about this replay. Generally speaking, Circumflexes does not send me replays very often, and usually when I get an email from him and he's saying, look at this replay, there's going to be something special there. And I'm just not feeling it yet. I was sitting at this point in the replay thinking, well, it's alright, but I'm just not feeling the love at the moment. I mean, what made you pick this replay out and send this replay in, of all the games that you play, because he plays World of Tanks a lot? Why was this one special? Well, trust me, when it happens, oh, you'll know. Oh yeah. Yeah, you have a while to wait yet, but it's going to be worth it. Remember, he's firing nothing but high explosive ammunition here. And while, a single shot from this 150mm autoloader does compare to a single shot from the KV-2 all the way down at tier 6, and it's not a completely ridiculous comparison, on a shot-for-shot basis, this thing has 85mm of penetration, the KV-2 with its high explosive has 86. The KV-2 does 910 average damage, this thing does 950. The primary differences, of course, being that the KV-2 doesn't get no autoloader, it's 20 seconds between shots. Then again, the KV-2 is firing at the kind of targets that it usually, or often, can penetrate and do full damage to with its 152mm shell. You can't rely on the ghost of Stalin to reach up from hell and guide your shots to the weak spots of enemy tanks when you're driving a German Waffenträger. You have to pretty much do it all yourself. Object 140 there, came around the corner, saw him, panicked, didn't realise he wasn't loaded. Of course, now he is loaded. The object is desperately trying to find somewhere to hide. Circumflexes gets a shot at his rear, boom, headshot, and now the clock is ticking. 3 shots left. Next victim, please. T-54 lightweight, you'll do. Manages to get a side shot at him, hits him, loads of damage, and sets him on fire. Batchat, right in the turret, 1100 damage. 4502 comes around thinking, oh, he's just fired, I'll get him. Then thinks, ow, okay, maybe that wasn't such a good idea. Gets away with taking no damage whatsoever. He's now safe, he's in cover, he's reloading his gun, and in the space of something like 25 to 30 seconds, he's just done 4,000 damage to the enemy team, firing nothing but high explosive ammunition. Don't you just hate him? You lucky bastard. However, tactically, the situation could be a lot better. The medium tanks that were with him have pulled back. He's up here alone now, reloading. Most of the tanks left on the enemy team, and their one kill up, are the better than average players in some seriously dangerous tanks. Oh well, only one thing for it. Attack, attack, attack! Over the top, boys! Last one in Berlin, stinks of rotten eggs. 4502A? No, Bat Chat, much more dangerous target. Boom, executed. 4502A from the front, well, that's what happens, even firing high explosive ammunition of this caliber when you're shooting at armour that you can't penetrate. But he is in an autoloader, so all he had to do was pull the trigger again. And now, one shot left, and he can kill that T-54 lightweight. But oh no, the T-54's probably... Oh, okay. T-54 got killed by the lightweight, so it's a good job he didn't go for the reload after all. KV-4 down there on the corner. Don't really want to give the KV-4 shots at us, so we're going to go hunting for the T-54 lightweight. Now his platoon mate Snooze in the Leopard is also moving up, but Snooze is on perilously low health. Yep, Snooze has got him. Okay, fine. Now we can go for a reload, and he's had his fun. Now it's time to start taking things seriously, because there is a KV-4 between him, Snooze in the Leopard, and the rest of his team. And while he could probably do a lot of damage to the KV-4 just firing 4 rounds of high explosive, they really need to kill that KV-4. Snooze in the Leopard really cannot afford to take another hit. And the Leopard of course has no armour. The KV-4 is entirely capable of killing him. So Snooze is going to spot and try to keep the KV-4 distracted while Zircon closes in for the kill, using as much cover as possible. He's not reloaded yet. And now he's been spotted. Snooze doing the most he can to try to get this guy's attention, but the KV-4's having none of it. He shoots, he gets a hit on Circumflex's gun shield, but it's not going to be enough. And it's only going to take one more shot. KV-4 disposed of. He goes for the reload, and he's right back to the old herpaderp high explosive ammunition. Looking at the health of the 2 remaining enemy tanks, even if that mouse doesn't do any more damage to them, and he's probably not going to live much longer, one clip of high explosive will probably be enough to take out a Waffenträger 4 and an E75, and there goes the mouse. Pulls the camera right back. Now the Waffenträger seems to be heading for the cap, and the E75 seems to be coming back to try to have a go at Circumflexes. So Snooze is at one end of the road, setting up to cover the cap circle, and Circumflexes is at the other, waiting for that E75 to come around. Now, with high explosive loaded, and he's not loaded yet, but he soon will be, he's probably only going to be doing 200 to 300 damage per hit on that E75, depending on where he hits him. And the E75 has over 600 health, so it's likely to take 3 shots to kill the E75. But of course, he's not alone. Snooze is there in the Leopard with a seriously good gun on him, so Circumflexes has all the health. It looks like they're both capping. He's going to go around first, he's going to take the hits, and once they've both fired at him, Snooze is free to fire with impunity, and E75, bang, doesn't do a lot of damage. Finish off the Waffenträger, don't let him reload. Snooze puts a shot into the E75, which leaves him on enough low health that the final round of high explosive doesn't even need to penetrate to kill him, and this game is over. Well, our next replay comes courtesy of Bubo, and we've seen him before, and we're going to see him again. He sent me a whole clutch of T49 replays in, most of which were absolutely excellent. So we're going to be seeing more T49 gameplay, probably a subscriber special to show you the remainder of the games that he sent in, but I wanted to include this one in the good, the bad and the ugly, and when you see how it plays out, you'll understand why. So, the T49, new American Tier 8 light tank, comes with a choice of 2 guns, and most people are going to be using this one, the 152mm howitzer. It's using the prototype Sheridan light tank turret, And in real life, this gun was capable of firing the Shillelagh anti-tank missile. Now, you don't get that here in World of Tanks. Instead, what you get is a tiny little KV-2 that can do 72 kilometers per hour. And most people are going to be using this gun with the T-49 because derp guns are funny. Although the 90mm gun on this thing is not bad at all. More of that, however, in an upcoming video. For now... Oh, you just couldn't ask for a better shot. And a side shot at a Leopard prototype. Guaranteed penetration if it hits. And that, of course, is the downside of firing a derp gun. And of course, yeah, it's an American derp gun, so he can't call upon the ghost of Stalin to reach up from the depths of hell and guide his shot to the enemy weak spots. He has to do it all himself. And, well, we've heard that before in this video. Anyway, so disappointing start. I mean, this gun does a lot of damage, but you have to actually hit the target, and it is monstrously inaccurate and has a huge aiming time. And as is true of all howitzers, it's a very low velocity shell, so it takes more time than you're used to for it to reach the target. If the target's moving, you have to give it a hell of a lot more lead time. So, disappointing start, one shot fired at such a juicy target, and it completely missed. Oh well. Plenty of enemy tanks left. And this is probably the best kind of matchmaking you're ever going to see in the T-49. It's a tier 9 game on Swamp. Generally speaking, this thing will only get into tier 9 or 10 matches. You really could not ask for better matchmaking in this tiny little American tier 8 light tank. I don't have this yet myself. I've just unlocked the Walker Bulldog, which I absolutely love. I think the Walker Bulldog is a fantastically fun tank. I'm in kind of two minds about the T-49. I mean, you know, KV-2 that can do 72 kilometers per hour. What's not to like? But, yeah, I don't know. And, you know, I suspect that's my problem rather than the T-49. I just don't really have the fire discipline required to resist taking shots that are probably not going to hit with this howitzer. Oh, that is... And, ooh, talk about a bad start. That is not good. Poked around the corner, instantly took 2 hits, and didn't even get a shot off in return. He's not having a very good game so far, is he? To be completely honest, this replay isn't so much about Bubo Bubo, although he does come good, but it's more about... Oh, hello. Okay, now, that one... That's more like it. That's what this tank does. Alright, let's not get too carried away. It was just a T-21, but there's a Carnarvon down there. And the Carnarvon isn't exactly over-endowed with armour, but if the Carnarvon is smart enough to keep his front pointed towards Bubo Bubo, then he's not going to penetrate, and he's not going to do full damage. On the other hand, Carnarvons do seem to burn remarkably well, and once he's been reduced to low enough health, it really doesn't matter where he hits him with this high explosive shot. He's going to kill him anyway. Now, a Black Prince, on the other hand, that is bad news. Black Prince, very, very heavily armoured. His armour is going to shrug off most of the damage of one of these shells unless he is dumb enough to shoot at a T-54 instead of a T-49 and allow him to get round behind him and put a shot right up his big fat British ass where it is going to penetrate and do full damage. And it's remarkable that Bubo Bubo actually had the fire discipline to hold his shots and get around and ensure that he did full damage. Most T-49 drivers would at the very best have taken a shot into the side and just hoped that it was going to penetrate. And his discipline rewarded him with a full damage penetrating hit on the rear of the Black Prince. And here comes the Leopard prototype he missed earlier on. He ain't going to make that mistake twice. But some absolutely terrible decision making on the part of the Black Prince driver there. 2 tanks in front of him, and don't forget the Black Prince's gun is rapid firing but low penetration. And of the 2 tanks that you can choose to shoot at, one of them is a tier 9 medium T-54 who's facing you and on almost full health, and the other is a T-49 who's going to one-shot you if he lives long enough to get around behind you, and he's on half health, and he chose to shoot at the T-54. Certainly not complaining. More enemies like that, please. Meanwhile, the gun's reverted to type and he's just missed that Tiger 2 while taking a hit from him in return. T-54's gone around. He's now reduced the Tiger II to such low health that Bubo just has to land a shot of high explosive near to the Tiger II, and the splash damage will kill him. And there we go, he's got him. Only did 12 damage, but a kill's a kill. That's one less gun shooting back at them. Now, the Tiger II driver really didn't see the funny side of that shot, although, you know, I did. And right now, it's going to take a while because he's typing an entire letter to express his rage and disappointment in chat, but it'll be worth it. And keep an eye on chat. Hopefully you're watching this in high enough resolution that you can actually make out the battle text. But yeah, he really rustled that Tiger II's jimmies with that one. I mean, he only did 12 damage to the Tiger II this entire game. But no, it's all the fault of the T-49. It's, never mind everybody else who did over 1,000 damage to him. It's those overpowered derp guns. That's the root of all that's wrong in World of Tanks. Come on, Mr. Tiger II. Vent your spleen into chat. He's a slow typer. You're going to have to put up with him. Come on, where is it? There it is, yay! That's right. T-49 does 12 damage to you, and everything that's wrong with World of Tanks is his fault. He's just a lucky auto-aimer. Yeah, I don't think so. Don't worry, we haven't heard the last of the Tiger II driver. He's going to continue to embarrass himself in chat throughout the rest of this game. Now, AMX 1390 spotted. Bubo is reloaded. He didn't spot the 1390, but he's in a position to do something about it. Races forward. 1390 is almost on full health. He has over 1,000 health remaining. 950 average damage on this gun. Well, when it works, it really, really works. 1390 didn't know what hit him. Unfortunately, taken out as he advanced by a great shot from a very good Rheinmetall Borsig player. However, Bubo's loss is our gain. Taking out that AMX 1390 has allowed that T-37 up there a free run at the enemy artillery. And we're just going to switch to his perspective. There we go. Dodges one shot from the artillery and lets rip with his 76mm gun. Look at the rate of fire on this gun. I love seeing these little tanks do well. Dodges another shot from the artillery. Because this is basically what the Chaffee used to be like at Tier 5. Even though it's a Tier 6 tank and it's a new tank. But this is what the Chaffee was. And I loved the Chaffee. And I do like to see this tank doing well. So he's had his wicked way with the enemy artillery. As for Bubo, well, just over 3,000 damage in the T-49 in a Tier 9 match. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's not spectacular. But Bubo's performance isn't why I picked this replay. It's what happens next. It's kind of like that scene at the end of Fury. I don't know if you've seen the movie, minor spoiler alert. The Germans, which up until that point had been fighting reasonably well, suddenly took leave of their senses and completely forgot how to fight, because Hollywood. And the same can be said for our friend in the T-37, who had been playing remarkably well up until this point, but then completely forgot how to drive a light tank. Watch this. Remember, he's looking for a hidden Rheinmetall Borsig that, as far as he knows, is right in front of him. There's a little hill here we can use as cover. No, cover's for noobs. We're going to drive over the top of the hill, because that's going to slow us down to a standstill, and it's going to completely frame us against the sky in zero cover and make us a one-shot kill for the tank destroyer that we think is here. There's some bushes I can use for concealment. Concealment is for noobs. Real men drive their light tanks in the open. What the hell is he thinking? And Bubo is trying to tell him, look, screw this, no cap, kill all. It's a Rheinmetall Borsig. He's a very stealthy, very dangerous tank destroyer, driven by a very good player. Cap. Right, there's no honour in losing. Cap. Get your ass into the cap circle, sit in one of those shell holes, and make him come to you. Rheinmetall Borsig's biggest advantage is firing from stealth. Hidden, not moving, waiting for you to blunder in front of him, which is exactly what the T-37 was doing, playing right into his hands. He finally listens to Bubo, and he does the right thing. Gets his ass into a shell hole, and sits in the cap circle. The Borsig is now on a timer. Now the ball is in his court. He has to react. He's being capped, he's going to lose. He can't just use all of his advantages, sit in cover, and wait for these guys to come to him, where he can kill them off one by one. which is exactly what would have happened if he hadn't relocated after nailing Bubo Bubo. He'd been spotted at that point, so he relocated the tank, and it's only because he did that that this team is actually winning. T-37 would have been dead, T-28 prototype would have been a 2-shot kill. The Borsig was on full health, the T-28 prototype would not have been able to kill him. This game would probably have been over if the T-37 hadn't listened to Bubo Bubo and finally done the right thing. Target 2 driver, of course, continues to embarrass himself in chat, whining about how there's no honour in capping. Well, there's not much honour in losing either. The S-51, paying attention to the map, realising that the Borsig has relocated, sets up to try to ambush him if he comes around this side to reset the cap, and sure enough, there he is. Now that was a lot of damage, but it wasn't quite enough. Well played from the S-51 anyway. Right place, right time, and it almost paid off for him, but they've now won. Remember, no cap, kill all. It's not always a good idea. So, today's final replay comes courtesy of Logan 10 in the Type 61 Japanese Tier 9 medium tank. I was planning on saving this replay for a Type 61 review, but it's probably going to be a while before I can do a Type 61 review because I don't have a Type 61 yet. I'm still playing the STA-1 at Tier 8. And I love the STA-1. I think it's a really good tank. It's kind of like a Japanese Pershing, except with a slightly better gun. The Type 61, while I don't have much direct experience of driving it, I've only ever driven it on the test server, it seems to be like a Japanese Centurion Mark 7. Except it's faster, and it doesn't have that bouncy gun mantlet. In fact, this tank really doesn't have any armour at all, anywhere. But, you know, there are worse tanks in the game to be compared to than a Mark 7 Centurion. If it plays anything like the Mark 7 Centurion, I'm probably going to enjoy driving this tank as well. So, what's going on in this match? Well, it's a Tier 9 game, but there are only 2 Tier 9 tanks on each team, and Logan is in one of them. On the other hand, it's Lakeville Encounter. And Lakeville Encounter is generally a heavy tank and sniping tank destroyer kind of match. However, there aren't that many heavy tanks on either team, and most of the heavy tank players are not particularly good. So we're, under normal circumstances, driving a very lightly armoured medium tank like this into the town I'm not going to say it's a terrible idea, but it can be risky. You have to know what you're doing. But if you can get there quickly in a fast medium and there's not much heavy tank opposition, you can capitalise on it. A lot like that T-54E1's doing, nom-nom-nomming a very foolish AMX 1390 to death, but he's taken hits doing it. Logan's second shot bounces. The T-54E1 is reloading, though. He's backing off. He has to be reloading. Now, he reloads pretty quickly, so Logan can't really mess around here. But at the same time, he doesn't just want to rush blindly around the corner, because there's usually somebody at the back end of that road, but nothing happened. Now, the T-54E1 has probably reloaded by now, and he has, but one more shot is all it's going to take to kill him, so worth the risk. But only because there was nobody at the back end of that road. He got here fast enough that the T-54E1 had no backup. T-54E1 paid the price for rushing ahead of his backup and not having that much backup in the first place. I mean, what does he have here to support him? There's a Cheery over there. Well, okay. And there's a Super Pershing, T-44, and an IS-6 who was spotted heading in this direction, but just haven't got here in time. Rushed too far ahead of his support, didn't have enough support in the first place, too aggressive, paid the price. Enemy are now down one Tier 9 tank. They've only got one left. And that's the Centurion 7-1, who's busy fighting out a pointless battle over in G2 in the valley, as far away from the cap as he could be and still be relevant. So there's that. And they do have some tank destroyers who are holding off that corner. So we're not going to expect much input from the enemy Tier 9s for the immediate future. Now, finally, those enemy tanks who were following the T-54E1 have made it. There's the IS-6, and he just took a fearsome beating at the hands of this 105mm gun, which, by the way, because people keep saying it in the comments, he's not using gold ammunition. Armour-piercing composite rigid ammo, and holy shit, did he just bounce a shot from something? Well, with extreme angling like that, anything's possible. The IS-6, he doesn't really seem to care about taking damage. He's going to get away, though, unless we can blow his tracks off, and that was kind of unfortunate. Normally, when you shoot at the inside drive wheel, the drive wheel closest to you of a tank that's sideways on, it will go through the drive wheel, penetrate the hull on the other side and do damage to the tank as well as immobilising him, like here on the T-44. For some reason it didn't happen on the IS-6 there, and for some reason that shot didn't blow the tracks off the T-44, or I don't know. There we go, that's what's supposed to happen. Hits the IS-6 again. IS-6 and T-44 on the corner. Now he's not alone here, he's got tanks behind him, and you know, the scores are, it could be worse. It could be a lot better as well. Unfortunately, the tank destroyers that were guarding the corner down at G2 have all died, which means that all of those tanks that took the long way through the valley, we're just going to finish off this IS-6, yep, all those tanks that took the long way through the valley are going to be an issue very soon, and there they are. Now the other tier 9 on Logan's team, oh, watch this shot, oh yeah, it's such a good gun. The other tier 9 on Logan's team, the WZ-111, has been sitting in the middle of the lakeside road the entire game. He's not really had that much of an impact. Certainly not the kind of impact that you'd expect a tier 9 heavy tank to have in this kind of game. He's basically been sitting there sniping, taking side shots at the tanks that are slowly filtering through into the town, but the majority of the work is being done by all the tier 7s. Like the Comet and the Tiger, and tier 8s like the T-32 here, and obviously Logan in the Type 61. And that WZ-111 has now he's sat there in that same spot the entire game, and being literally penned in there by a tier 8 light tank. And he sat there for so long that an Su-152 managed to drive all the way down the valley, and then turn around and come all the way up behind him and finish him off. Remarkably poor play from somebody who you would expect to be able to do a lot better. I mean, statistically, he's one of the best players on the team, and he's in a top-tier heavy tank, and he managed to get encircled and surrounded by a tier 8 light and a tier 7 tank destroyer. Just shocking, shocking. Meanwhile, the guys in the town punching above their weight with... oh crap, they've just lost the Comet. They're getting encircled, and there's the Centurion. Whoa, that was close. That was damn close. Now, there wasn't an awful lot in the reload between those two, but Logan fired first. The Centurion isn't even attempting to angle his armour, he's just sitting there in the open, and Logan got the next shot off. Now he's running perilously low on ammunition, and he's running perilously low on teammates. That T-32 there, he's lost the Comet. The T-32 is not in a fantastic position. He's not even trying to angle his armour, he's dead. Logan is now on his own against 6 enemy tanks. He's got 1 round of APCR left. After this, he's either using high explosive or he's spending money. Make sure the T-34 kill, but he's in the open. The T-34 was highlighting his position, and as he crosses the road he starts taking hits from the WZ-132, and from the top around the church it's the T-20, cheeky little bugger. Well, finishes him off. 4 enemy tanks left. He knows where the WZ-132 is. He's up that central road next to the lake. The Su-152 was up there with him. The Su-152 is the one that killed the WZ-111, and there's the Indian Panzer. Well, 1 shot is all it's going to take, but he's having to trade health with every kill that he makes here, and he doesn't have an awful lot of health left. Now, going around this corner is a bit of a risk, because that Chinese tier 8 light tank was up there on the road, but as he pokes out he does not get spotted, and his sixth sense only goes off when this Su-152 gets close enough to proximity to detect him. His first shot, checking around him, doesn't know where that Centurion is, blows his tracks off. The Su-152 either doesn't have or doesn't want to use a repair kit, and that costs him his tank. So now it's 1 against 2. Right now I'm thinking 2 things. Where did the WZ-132 go? Oh, there he is. And he loses more health. But also, what's taking that Centurion so long? The Centurion was spotted on the road down there, and we haven't seen anything of him since. The WZ-132 is going to be detecting Logan for the Centurion. He's in an agony of indecision here. And then, well, there's the Centurion. Too slow, far too slow. WZ-132 just... all he had to do was stay hidden and let the Centurion shoot Logan up the ass. But he risked it. He came around the corner. He gave Logan the kill, and then the Centurion, his gun isn't even pointing in Logan's direction. You know, to be completely honest, it looks like the Centurion just rage quit when the 132 died. But hey, a win's a win, and 1 kill short of a Pools medal. Well, that's it for today. I hope you've been entertained by today's collection of 3 replays in the good, the bad, and the ugly. Not entirely sure which one was bad, or which one was ugly for that matter. Oh, Jingles, you so silly. But I hope you were entertained anyway. As always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.